welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how I make fashion sandwiches. I love sushi, but we don't have a sushi restaurant in our town, so if I want to eat it often enough, I have to make it myself. And after following a few simple tips and tricks that I've learned along the way, you'll find that it's really simple to make and it's also a lot more affordable. So I hope you learned something valuable today, and thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments if you agree with these tips. Okay, let's get started. This is what you're going to need. You're going to need a very sharp knife, nori. For this much fashion sandwiches, I'm going to need 2 sheets of nori. You're going to need some warm water, a bowl of warm water, some pre-cooked sushi rice. I like to cook it the day before or in the morning so that it has time to cool down. We've got some avo and some smoked salmon. If you can get fresh sushi grade salmon, that's best, but I find that smoked salmon actually works really, really well. And some mayo. I just use regular Heinz. And then of course for when you're eating it, you're going to want your wasabi, your ginger, and your soy sauce. Okay, so a little bit quickly about the rice. I cooked it the day before. Always follow the instructions on the box. I used to think that it was the same for all rice, but it wasn't. The general rule is 1 cup water to 1 cup sushi rice, and then you cook it for 15 minutes with the lid on a low simmer, and then you let it steam for another 10 minutes with the stove off, and then it's done. And then you add some rice vinegar with salt and sugar. It's 2 tablespoons rice vinegar, 1 tablespoon sugar, and a half a teaspoon of salt. And then you heat that all up and pour it over the rice once it's finished cooking. And then you put the rice in a container to cool down in the fridge. So this is what my sushi rice looks like, and that's the most important part to get right. If your sushi rice is done well, you really can't go wrong. So now that my sushi rice is cooked, before I get started, I'm just going to add some black sesame seeds onto it. You don't have to do this if you don't like sesame seeds, but I really like them. So I find that if I put it in the rice, then it's get a nice mixture inside the sushi as well as on top, which I'll add at the end. So whenever you're working with the sushi rice, your hands must be wet, because otherwise the rice will stick to your fingers and it just becomes a big mess. So you have a little bowl of warm water nearby, and then that'll help with that. So you start with your first sheet. So I'm going to just make one giant thing of fashion sandwiches, and then I'll chop them up at the end according to how I want them. So, okay, so my hands are wet. Now I'm just going to take some of the sushi rice and put it on the sheets. Now, I'm definitely far from any kind of a sushi chef. I just make it the way that I like it. And you can also just change it to the ingredients to what you like. So I think today I'm just going to be using salmon and avo with mayo, but salmon, especially smoked salmon, also goes well with cream cheese, so you can do that too. So the amount that I'm making now, I mean, I like to eat a lot of sushi. That's why it's better I make it at home. Otherwise it ends up getting expensive. But I think this is generally good for about 2 people if they like a lot of sushi. And if you're making it for a starter at a dinner party or something, then it can definitely feel a lot more. I think we're going to make quite a few sandwiches here today. We're going to make about 36 pieces today. Almost there, guys. You can see my sesame seeds have run out, so I'm definitely going to throw a lot on the top. Do you also like sesame seeds? If you do, let me know in the comments below. What are your favorite sushi fillings? Like, what would you like to have in your fashion sandwiches? Okay, so now that both my layers are done, I'm going to add some mayo to this layer. I used to be like very stingy with the mayo because I thought it would be healthier without it, but I've noticed that if you do give a nice generous layer, it definitely makes it yummier. So don't be too shy with the mayo. Not too much because you don't want the flavor to be overpowered, but enough so that it gives it that nice richness that you're looking for. Okay, evenly spreading it out. Now it's really like a sandwich. Okay, this is obviously where it gets its name from. Scooping off the extra mayo because, like I said, you don't want too much, but that looks about right. I'm going to take a little bit off the sides too because I don't want it to all squish out when I start cutting. Okay, good. Now that that's clean, I'm going to start adding my avo. Isn't it one of the best things in the world where you get an avo and it comes out like this? It's always a gamble. You never know what it's going to look like inside, and I'm always surprised. So this was a nice surprise, luckily. I like the avo on, so I'm going to try and fill in all the gaps with avo. Okay. I've used now half of one big avo, but I think it looks like it's the perfect amount. I'm not going to need to go open up or cut up the other half, so that's good. Yes, 1/2 of an avo was perfect, and I'm using 100 grams of salmon for this. Okay, I was hesitant with smoked salmon at first because smoked salmon can be really rich. I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but I've actually found that because the layers are so thin and with all the other ingredients, you don't really notice that it's smoked. It has quite a subtle flavor, so that's good to know. I was always thinking that you needed to get the proper fresh fish in order to make sushi at home, and of course you can, and that would be really nice, but especially in Europe, or at least in Germany where I am now, it's not so easy to get proper fresh sushi grade salmon. I actually found a website where you can order it, which I'm definitely going to try. I haven't tried that yet. But it takes a couple of days to arrive, and especially if you're just wanting to make sushi on a whim, or you don't want to wait for it to arrive, then it's nice to know that you can just use smoked salmon. So you can see now this 100 grams, which is what I usually get, a pack of 100 grams. It fits perfectly on this layer. So then you're going to just add the second layer on top. And there you've got it. Your sandwiches are put together. The only thing left to do is to cut them up. So you can see that was really quick and easy to do. It really didn't take a lot of time or effort. It's just a matter of having everything here ready and preparing the rice in advance, because I think that's the thing which takes the longest, because you have to wait for it to cool down. It's not so that it takes so long for the rice to cook, but you can't use warm rice. Okay, so now it's complete. I'm just going to add some more sesame seeds on top because, like I said, love the sesame seeds, so I'm going to be very generous. Okay, even them out a little bit. Not necessary, but looks a bit better. Cool. Okay, so this is important. With your knife, you must make sure that it's wet too, because if your knife isn't wet, the rice is going to stick to it too, and it's not going to get a clean cut. So I've got my very sharp knife here, and I'm just going to make sure that there's water all around it, and I'm going to start off by cutting this into 4 parts. You cannot do this without a sharp knife. Don't even try. It's just going to frustrate you. This knife is really sharp, and even though I only really use this knife for sushi, I still sharpen it every time before I get started, just to make sure that I've got that extra sharpness. Okay. Get such clean lines. Oh, so excited for this. There we go. I'm just just go once over again to make sure that I got all the way through. Yes, okay. So now I've got my 4 parts. I guess you can also just cut it all on the mat like this. Clean the knife with a kitchen towel. Wet it again. So then I like to separate each quadrant again into 3 now. Into squares because I like them to be bite-sized. I don't like it if you've got this giant piece of sushi that you have to bite in 2 bites, because then most of the time it messes. So I like them small bite sizes, but if you want you can make them a little bit bigger and then cut them into triangles like how you often get served at a restaurant. But that's totally up to you. You can see here these little edges on the pieces that you cut off on the edge look a bit messy on the side, but they're still just as delicious. But I'm going to put them for now on the side. See how beautifully that came out? That's like perfect layers. Oh, so good. So it's nice to use a fork to pick them up. Oh, look how perfectly these came out. I have to show you. See if I can get that down. Look at that. That is really good. Looks so messy with the rice, but delicious nonetheless. I'm sorry, isn't that not the perfect fashion sandwich? So I'm just going to put them here on the plate. You can continue to wet your fingers at this stage too, because you're going to be touching the rice and you don't want it to stick to your fingers. So you can use the same ingredients to make just about any type of sushi. You can also use the smoked salmon for salmon roses or nigiri or anything like that. And the rolls are actually also really easy to make, even quicker and easier than the fashion sandwiches. So if you want to see any more videos on how I do the other types of sushi, then just let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to share that too. I just thought I would start with this because it's my absolute favorite. Okay, so the sushi is done. Let's take this away. And there you have it. Fashion sandwiches.